Cool. Well then, I think we're going to get started. Everyone, my name is Aubin. I am a Senior Customer Success Manager over at Inside Real Estate. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today about kvCORE. Hopefully, you've at least heard of kvCORE. If you haven't logged in quite yet, I was chatting with Dan this morning. He said he hasn't gotten in quite yet, so that's okay. That's what today's for. But I want to talk to you guys about the basics of getting started with the kvCORE system, some things that you guys can do to get make sure everything is set up, ready to go. So when you really get serious about using the kvCORE system, jumping in, it's pretty much going to run off very smoothly. So first things first, probably, everyone, you would actually go to kvCORE.com to log in. I'm not sure if you have your username or password, if you need help with that. I'm assuming Aaron, maybe Dan, someone could help you guys get logged in. That's kind of where you go to get logged in. And the first thing I want you guys to do is jump over, and once you're logged in, is click into kvCORE, and there's an email address in the upper right-hand corner. And I just want you guys to click on My Profile. Oh, and I'm actually going to show you something else before I get too deep into this. But I want you guys to check your profile, make sure all of your information is correct. This information does get pulled into automatic emails, automatic text messages. So as long as your name, your agent MLS ID, social media links, phone number, email, all that good stuff is added. And I also include a signature as well. That's probably the first thing I would do, is just jump in, make sure all of your contact information is accurate so people know where to find you and how to communicate with you as you're going through. Now, I'm going to jump back to my dashboard. And so we are actually in the middle. You guys kind of are coming in at a great time. We're actually in the middle of doing a kvCORE redesign. So you're probably for a couple of weeks more, you're going to see this big Switch Now button on the top of your dashboard screen. So I'm actually going to switch now, and I'm going to do my whole thing today in the new kvCORE. I think you guys are going to find it's a lot faster, a little bit cleaner, and a little bit more modern. So I'd highly recommend you guys switch over to the new version. You can always switch back at least for a couple more weeks until you're kind of getting used to it, going back and forth, but I'd highly recommend switching. But after you guys get your profile updated, make sure your contact information is there, the first thing I'd have you guys do is import your sphere of influence or your database into the system. That way I can show you ways to nurture and put people on marketing campaigns. So I'm going to jump over into the lead engine. Oh, there's a big glare. There's a big glare, I think, from the television or from, on the television. Oh, yeah. Is there a way to like? Yeah, I could share my screen if that's easier.
Yeah, let's share the screen.
Okay. Oh, the window. That's okay. I'll share my screen. Yeah. We can do it that way. Is that better for everybody? I think Kelly and Rachel. Much better. Okay. No problem. I'm glad you guys said something. We would have had no idea. Okay, I'm going to move that down. So Bonnie's in here. Cool. Okay, I'm going to keep my chat kind of open to the side, but just so you guys can see the kvCORE screen. Oh, Kelly, if we put our contacts into the old kvCORE, will they transfer into the new system? Yeah, so everything you guys do will come over. It's basically, it just mirrors each other. It's just a different look. So if you do something in the older style, the older look, totally fine. And you can also do it in the new one. It doesn't make a difference right now. Good question. Okay, so I'm actually going to go over on the left-hand side to my lead engine. And on the lead engine page, we're going to go over to bulk import down here. Mine's on the second row. Now, the cool thing is we have two different ways to import your contacts. The first one is letting the Inside Real Estate team or the kvCORE team handle it. Highly recommend that one. You guys can also get a little excited and do it yourself if you want to, just to get it done immediately. highly recommend just having my team do it. There's no charge to do it. It just takes, they estimate about 3 days. We're currently at like a 1 to 2 day turnaround time. But I would highly recommend letting our team just handle those imports for you. There is a little bit of a form you need to fill out, and that's just because we want to make sure we get all of the information correct. We don't want to put someone who's a client in as a sphere or a new lead. So just making sure that you come in here, you accept the terms, and on this next page, you're going to go through and you're going to say, hey, yep, I'm an agent. You know, I'm located in the US. I want these assigned to me, and kind of go through this little form so we can make sure those leads are imported as smoothly as possible, so you guys don't miss a beat on anything like search alerts, any drip campaigns that you may want to add. And then as you go down, you can say, hey, where are these coming from? Maybe they're just your inbox, maybe they're a Google sheet, no worries. Import those. And then as you go down, any import preferences for statuses, and we'll talk about that in just a second.
There's a comment if we input.
Oh yeah, that was, if we put our contacts into the old kvCORE, we'll transfer to the new one. Yeah. And then we're going to talk about hashtags in a second just as well, and any deal types of buyer, seller, renter, vendor, or agent. And then any automation preferences. And we're going to spend a good chunk of our time during this hour talking about the automation that kvCORE has inside of it. So we'll talk about that as well. So before you get too excited and import, hang on for just the rest of the hour, and then we can do this together so you make sure everything gets imported correctly. So kind of on that note, I want to jump back. So let's pretend that I've gone through and I've imported all my contacts into the system. All of my contacts live in the Smart CRM over on the left-hand side. This is my not used demo account, so there's not as many leads in here, so I apologize. But you can see I do have some of my contacts in here, and this is what yours will look like. So you're going to see things like their status, their lead type, you're going to see their name, and then I mentioned hashtags. And so if one of your leads doesn't fit the status or the type, or maybe you just want to group your contacts differently, maybe you've got an email list or a newsletter or something that you guys send out, a hashtag is an easy way to identify people in that group. So you can see on my screen, I've got things like military family, fantasy football team, they're just browsing. So things like that, where you can just document and highlight, hey, this is the group that I want these people to be in, so I can either mass communicate with them, I can send them certain items. So it's just a really good way to keep yourself organized. And then, like I mentioned, we have different statuses, and I'm actually going to jump over to our support portal for this one, just because if you guys have used a previous CRM system, or even if you've been in real estate for a while, you probably have your own definitions of a prospect or a sphere or an active lead or things like that. And I think it's important to note what kvCORE defines as those different types, so you guys can keep yourself as organized as possible. So I just went over on the left-hand side to the support portal, and then I pressed see all articles. And once you get here, it's basically like kind of like a Google search where you can just type out keywords. So I'm just going to type out the word status and hit enter. And then I know this one's all the way at the bottom. So as I scroll through, you can kind of see we have a bunch of different systems. So you're going to see things like core back office, but just make sure you guys are paying attention to the kvCORE system or the kvCORE articles as they are relevant to you guys right now. So this last article, and I'm going to chat this out to you guys so you have it, but this article has the definitions of those statuses. Just chat that out. So you guys can see, okay, how does kvCORE define a sphere or a prospect or someone under contract or an archived contact? So these are all the definitions, and honestly, as you get started, you may want to bookmark this just because this is where you're going to want to keep up with your contacts almost daily, just making sure that they're in the right bucket, because we have different automation and different communication methods that go out based on their statuses. So this is a really large piece of the kvCORE system. So once I've kind of determined my statuses, we're going to think about lead types. And I think these ones are a little bit more clear. Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Are they a renter? Do you have someone in your database that's another vendor or a fellow real estate agent? So you can mark all of your contacts as such. And again, I'll just click on my test lead here to kind of show you what that looks like. But in my leads profile, you can see how prominent the client journey is up here at the top, and that's where we see those statuses. So currently my lead Aubin is a prospect, but I'm gonna wanna check in and say, hey, my goal right now is to get her to the next part or the next piece of her client journey, which is being a new lead, or moving them to an active lead status. And all you do to change that is just click that check mark, press yes, and it's then been activated, and they're now moved to an active lead. Now you can see as I did that down below, it looks like I've got a new campaign added. If you guys are familiar with drip campaigns, there's a new campaign added specifically for an active buyer. So you can see that's my contact, active lead. They're in here, and so it's going to automatically change the messaging and the drip campaign that gets assigned to the contact. Now I want to talk through this a little bit as well, because in the middle of this page, you guys can see every action or every activity that has happened with your contacts. The cool thing about kvCORE is you have a phone number that's also associated with it. So anytime you do a text message or a phone call out of the kvCORE system, it's automatically documented into this lead's profile. So I no longer have to go to my cell phone and say, oh crap, when did I text them that one thing? And you can just scroll through and find it all right here inside the leads activity. You can actually also filter by the activity. So if you just want to say, hey, we've been texting a lot or we've been doing a lot of emails, you can click on all activity in the upper right hand corner and just do all notes, maybe all texts, all any potential transactions that they have that you want to follow up on, any drip campaign. So it's a really great way for you to see everything about this lead as they move through the process, rather than just seeing, hey, I'm only worried about them right now because they're a client. We want to make sure that we're still hitting people that are under a sphere or even a prospect status. So once I get my contacts into the kvCORE system, I'm going to back out of this particular contact, and I want to show you guys how you can communicate in bulk. Because once you bring people into a new system, I would recommend doing a spring cleaning, or you can think of it as similar to a spring cleaning. But you guys can message all the people on that particular page. Unfortunately, I only have 3 here. But you can select all of them here and do a mass email, or maybe in addition to a mass text. Hopefully you guys are all aware that when it comes to nurturing, text messages are getting the highest response rate. So if you can, I'd really encourage you guys to do more text than emails. Everyone's probably feeling a little bit of email fatigue right now, just with all that going on. But I'm going to recommend doing a mass text. And as we do that, you'll see we've got a canned response available. So if you guys are like, I don't even know what to say, how do I clean up my database? You guys can click in here, and we have a template called, if I could type, imported leads default text. And it just says, hey, first name. So it's going to pull the first name of your contacts. I just sent you an email. We can always change that if we want, about cleaning up my database of past and current clients, and wanted to follow up with this text. Can you tell me if you're searching to purchase or sell and need assistance, resuming your search in the near future, or already bought and sold? Congrats, thanks, and your name. So it's just pretty basic, but again, it's going to get people to interact with you, especially if a lead has been quiet or dormant for a while. They've been waiting for the market to do something different than always, currently being a seller's market. This is a great time or a great way to just re-engage with those contacts that have been imported. Now, you can also do this if some of you have used kvCORE in the past, stopped for a period of time. You can always use something like that, what we call lead CPR. So kind of bringing those leads back from being quiet, being dormant. You can always just kind of send out a quick text message just with a call to action, asking them to respond back to you guys. Absolutely.
pointing here where you are just looking at just general leads. I don't see it.
Yeah,
highlighted
yeah.
on the
So
side.
I'm
Go
over
back
here
there.
in the smart CRM.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, perfect.
I thought I did that before it did come through.
No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and if you guys want to, if you haven't logged into the system yet, you don't have any leads, you may want to put like a spouse, a neighbor, a friend, a cousin, someone into your system as a test lead. That way you guys can see the communication, see how it comes through on your phone, on your emails, just to get familiar with the system before you import all of your contacts, and it could be a little bit overwhelming at that point. I would highly though advise and want this on record that do not use your own email or your own cell phone number. Our system knows that you're an agent into the system. So when you try to text or email yourself, it may get marked as spam. It may also not let you respond to those text messages just because we know that you're an agent and we're going to try and gear you towards responding to your lead rather than responding to yourself. So again, that's why I recommend a spouse, family member, friend, cousin, parent, whoever you guys have that may be available to help you kind of test out the system. Now, I think kind of on that note, the kvCORE system, you guys all get your own website. And I haven't tested this one in a minute, so let me click here. But I just clicked on my name in the upper right-hand corner. And you'll see I've got this phone icon. That is my kvCORE smart number. Now you guys share a smart number with everybody in your office. But the reason why that works so well is because once a lead is assigned to you and that lead calls or texts that number, it's only going to go to you as their agent. You're the assigned agent, you own that lead, and that's your contact. So that's where you see that number. It's not one you probably recognize, but one that you're definitely going to want to save in your phone is, hey, this is kvCORE, answer this one. It's probably a lead. Now this one is also your email address, just letting you know this is the email that we have associated with your kvCORE profile. And then this third one with the little globe looking icon, that is your kvCORE website. So I'm going to click on that, and you guys can do that on yours as well, just to kind of check out your website. And you'll see that this is what your site looks like. I'd encourage you guys again to mess around, click some buttons, enter in a test lead just to see how the system works, at least from a consumer's perspective. I'd encourage you guys to send out this link as much as possible because we have some really great lead capture abilities on this page where you have the potential to grab a lot of leads.
Where did you go to for that?
Yep, no worries. So back in my kvCORE, in the upper right-hand corner, I clicked on my name. And then the little globe icon is your website. Cool. Yeah, no problem. So we should already have your MLS or the IDX feed attached to your website, so people can come here and search for listings in real time. You can see I've got some, I haven't looked at this in a while, so mine got a facelift, but we can kind of come down here and see we've got like our listings, just listed, just reviews, and you guys do have the ability to edit a lot of these settings. I don't know if we're going to get to much of that today, but I can show you where to go and refer you to some articles if you want to make some adjustments there. But again, I'd encourage you guys to just start clicking on some, pictures of some properties, get familiar with your site, and get familiar with kind of the capture that happens here. Now, I will say this is a little counterproductive because the way I encourage you to go to your website is never going to prompt you to register. That's the ability for you as an agent to go through and view your own site. So if you want to kind of replicate the experience of your consumer, you can always, again, go back in your kvCORE platform, click on your name in the upper right-hand corner and click on that globe. That one will never prompt you to register. If you want to have that full experience of a consumer, you can always just type that out into a search bar. You can also go there from over on the left-hand side is your web and IDX section, where you can start looking at your website settings there as well. So then as you kind of start getting more test leads, I just encourage you guys to click more buttons, see more things. I want to show you guys a couple more things as it relates to these leads. Either again, if they became imported from your old system or if they were generated new. So I'm going to click on my leads name again. And so you can see over on the right-hand side, I've got all of these different actions. So you guys can call, email, text them, add notes. You can share them. Maybe you work as a partnership, or maybe you're doing this with a partner on this particular contact. You can send contacts automated valuations. You can do a voicemail drop. That's where you don't have to wait for the call or the phone to ring and ring and ring. You can just pre-record a voicemail and just drop that right into your contact's phone. We also do have a integration with BombBomb that we call Core Video. We have an included version for you guys where you can record videos on your desktop and send those out to one client at a time. We also have an upgrade if that's interesting to you, where you guys can use our kvCORE mobile app and actually record videos on the go. You can text these videos, you can save them as templates, you can add them to drip campaigns. So it gets pretty cool if that's something that's interesting to you and you guys are big video people. We do have a pretty solid integration with BombBomb that's actually just through kvCORE called Core Video. Yep.
With these various integrations and things like that, with the voicemail drop and those sort of things, are all those like included, or is it only the BombBomb one, like an extra fee to do that? So all this other stuff is included, or are there extras that need to be paid extra?
So yeah, that makes sense. So everything at the top here is included. The voicemail drop is an additional fee. You can choose your package or your price point that works for you. The Core Video does have an included version, but there's also that premium version that you can upgrade to.
So
yeah.
the top 6 are then included with those various options, but voicemail drop or video are not, unless you're getting whatever the upgrade package.
Voicemail drop is an upgrade. That one is for sure a cost. There is
$35, right?
I looked at this yesterday and my brain can't remember.
And voicemail drop is about like around 10 cents each.
Yeah, so it starts at 150 voicemails a month for $20. You can go up to 250, 500. You can kind of see there are overages, so it's like 13 cents a voicemail for you guys to do that if that's something that's intriguing
so
to you.
just click on that and it goes to the plans.
Yeah. Yep. And then Core Video, and I can show you this one. I think it's pretty cool. There is a free version of Core Video. It's basic, but it's honestly a good teaser if you're, hey, I really should get more into video. I want to test it out. This is a really great option for you to test it out and see if you're going to even use video, because you may not want to pay the extra amount. But you have it here where you can send it as an email, and you can just send it to one contact at a time. You have 10 per month that you can send, and that is included at no additional cost. If you want like unlimited access, ability to text, ability to save as templates, all these things, that's where the upgrade comes in. Just for you guys, I obviously on the free version, I'm just in a demo account here. So there's my face. You can see me hopefully maybe twice, but I'm just adding my video name and I can press record. Hey guys, this is Aubin over at Remax, just doing a test here to show you guys how this BombBomb integration works, where you can send videos out to your clients. You can also, I'm not sure if you saw before, you can also share and record your screen. So especially during COVID, you guys can go over documents, files, maybe hard conversations that you may not want to have in person, like price reduction and the reasons why, things like that you can do over this recording. Pause it whenever you're ready. Give a little preview. You can always do a call to action. Hey guys, I just left my brand new listing appointment. Just grab this listing. It's a coming soon property. Click here if you want to be on my VIP list to, see this property early. I don't know, something fun, something, the call to action where you can do. You don't have to. So again, mine was just a little preview. Hey, this is Aubin, but you have that option. It is included there. Now, if you hate your recording, you think you look silly, you can always do a new recording, or you can use that recording and send it out to your contacts. Yeah. Taking a sweet time. There we go. So now that's in my email. I'm going to send it as an email. It's doing a fun little preview. You can type a message to go along with it. click or watch my video. I would include your signature and send it out to your contacts. So super easy, super quick, but the included version is just for desktop. So you'd need a screen at least on your laptop or on your desktop computer. Now I wanted to show you also beneath that, chat over. I don't know if someone wants to keep their eye on that one, exit out actually. But we've got down below some options for property alerts. So you guys may be familiar with doing that in the MLS. I'm not sure if you had a previous CRM system, but you can actually pull in and send out alerts for properties for people interested in buying maybe and or selling. They just want to be aware of the market. You can do 2 separate alerts for each contact. And so you can, choose the area, you can draw it on a map. We're growing like crazy over here, especially like Eagle Mountain, Saratoga. These areas might not be available. So you can just draw it on a map and we'll kind of pick that area for you guys. You can also choose, listing types, price ranges, beds, baths, square feet, acres, year built, add any potential keywords that they're really, keen on. And also choose how often do you want these to be sent out. I think right now the market's so crazy, you may want to do ASAP as soon as that one hits the market. Send that out to your customer. You can also CC maybe yourself. That your lead is already pre-approved. They're ready to go. They've got the cash ready. So you may want to CC yourself as well. So you can just be aware, give them a call. Hey, this house might be perfect. Let's go take a look tonight. Now, the cool thing about kvCORE, though, as I mentioned on your website, there's a lot of these call to actions, and we're going to try and get people to register as a lead on your website. Now, as they're doing so, let's say because I logged in the wrong way, but let's say this little pop-up comes up. Hey, please register for these advanced features like saving a property, asking the agent a question, request a showing, getting property alert emails. And so I'm going to do a test here. And then you'll see as I start typing in, I put the @ sign, it's going to pop up with the cell number will be your password. So that's kind of prompting them, hey, give me your cell phone number in addition to. They're not required. We can require it. I don't recommend that, but you can get them to put their phone number in. So let's just say, do that, and I'm going to continue. And so I want to show you the whole kind of process here, but because I've now registered looking at a property, kvCORE is going to automatically put this lead, I've named myself Remax Testing, put this lead on a search alert within about 24, maybe 48 hours on a search alert for a summary of the properties that they looked at on their first visit to your website. So they're automatically going to get that. You guys don't even have to think about it. The default though is weekly, so if you want to kick that up, you're going to have to go into each contact and turn it to like ASAP or daily. That's kind of how this is starting to flow together. So we've got our website that's doing these calls to action. We've got our CRM, so I'm going to jump out of this contact and I'm going to refresh my page here.
Super off-topic subject, but I see that your search there was for Beverly Hills, California. Does kvCORE have access to MLSs across the country?
So this is just my demo account, and my MLS is, I think, California. I think it's CRMLS or something. But for you guys, we just have, I believe it is Wasatch Front.
Wasatch Front and Flex MLS.
Park City.
So, St. George.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we should have both, and I can double check with Aaron. We can make sure that those are added on, but they should already be, those two should already be on your sites.
Okay.
So you guys will only, you and your leads will only be able to look for listings in your MLS that you guys are approved to.
That are active.
Yep.
Only active.
Okay. And we don't have Park City.
No, but we can look into that.
Yeah, if
Okay.
we need to add it, that's not
Yeah,
a problem.
we can get that added into one.
Let's do that.
We'll do that.
Yeah, that's no problem. So yeah, we eventually will have Park City, Wasatch Front, and St. George. So you guys will have all of those, and then people who come to your websites can search for properties in all of those locations.
Perfect.
Yeah, mine's kind of weird because it's a demo account, and one of our main offices is down in Carlsbad, California. So that's why that's there. But you saw, so I just registered as a lead. I just went back to my CRM, and that lead that my fake name of Remax Testing is already in my CRM. And you'll see all of the things that kvCORE has already done. I haven't done anything, right? So it's already said, hey, just so you know that this lead viewed 320 South Reeves Drive, number A. And they viewed it one time on their computer. And you can see if they viewed it, you know, how many times on their computer, on their cell phone. Maybe that's, you know, a good indication. Should I be emailing or texting these people? And it also tells you how intriguing is this property to them. If they viewed it several times, that's probably something, hey, I saw that, you know, 320 South Reeves is super hot right now. Let's go look at it. We've also got, you know,
does it notify you based on their activity? So if you've seen it like 5 times, okay, like you're liking that. Do I know that, or do I have to go into your contact to see that?
No, so we've got several behavioral automation, like air quotes, that's literally what it's called. It's behavioral automation that we track, and we're going to notify you as the agent on 6 different behaviors that we're tracking we deem as a hot lead.
Perfect.
Was hoping, probably because it's obviously fake email, but typically we're going to come in here, and I'm just going to put that little check mark because it didn't do us, and I want to show you this. We typically do a validation on every single lead that comes in. So what that means is we're checking the internet, we're checking public record for against the information they provided. Maybe they only gave us their email address. Well, maybe they've used that email address with Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever it is. We're going to have all of that information, and it's going to appear in this validation notes box. And we can sometimes grab a gender, an age range. We can grab the quality of their email, meaning has it been used recently. So there's all these things that we can do just to help you guys and show, hey, this is a pretty solid lead because we've got really good information, or maybe it's a test lead like I just did here and we couldn't grab additional details. I think I want to jump to what Dan was talking about and just talk about behavioral automation, because kvCORE is going to track everything that these leads do through your kvCORE websites. We can't check what they're doing on Zillow. We can't check what they're doing on Realtor. It's just your kvCORE site. So you really want to encourage your contacts and your leads to be using this kvCORE site, because like I mentioned, it's all tracked, and we're going to send you guys notifications on when these leads are doing these things. So I'm going to exit out of the Smart CRM, and I'm going to go over to Marketing Autopilot on the left-hand side. Now we're going to jump into this spot called behavioral automation. That's what it's called. There's a couple of different pieces here, but the one I want to talk through is this section called behavioral alerts on the left. So you guys are going to see there's a theme. You're constantly going to see these lead statuses, and they're going to be a factor all the time, which is why I really think it's important for you guys at the beginning, at least, to bookmark it or become very familiar with those. But we'll see for these contact types, or these statuses, these are the 4 that I have turned on. So blue means on. These are the 4 people that I am paying attention to for these behavior types. So we can see, okay, well, if a lead visited my site and they didn't do anything for 2 weeks, and then they came back and they're looking at my site again, we're going to automatically send that contact an email and a text message. And you can preview that message and see what it's going to say. But then we're also going to send you, the agent, an alert letting you know that, hey, Bob Smith is active on your site again. Like Dan mentioned, hey, I want to know if they viewed a property a bunch of times. If the lead views this one property 3 times, we're going to send an email and a text. We're also going to alert you as the agent. If they view 10 different properties in 1 week, we deem that as a hot activity. If they view 5 properties in a single day, that's a hot activity. If they visit the site 5 different times in a single week, that's a hot activity. And if they favorite a property, that's a hot activity. So all these things we're going to notify you guys about. If you're like, hey, I'm getting so many of these alerts, you can always turn them off, but it may not be a good idea at the beginning until you become familiar and you can start paying attention to those habits of your contacts. A question I get, though, that I'm already foreseeing is, can I change these messages here? No, you can't. You can change a lot of the messages almost everywhere else in kvCORE, but these ones are pretty strict, just because we want to make sure that there is a correct call to action with an open-ended question, trying to get them to do more things with you and communicate with you. Now, this other piece of behavioral automation, yeah.
I'm sorry, so we have those settings, so any of my people that actually go to do that, that is the automatic thing that sets up for all of those kind of things.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if you're like, hey, I don't want that to happen for my sphere, those are my family, those are my friends, you can always turn that off for certain statuses.
Can you turn those off as far as updates?
They can unsubscribe, but it would be an unsubscribe from everything. I think they can unsubscribe from emails and there's a separate unsubscribe from text, but it would be all communication. Cool. And if you guys at home, I'm not paying attention to the chat, but if you guys have questions as well, please feel free to chat those in. Love hearing your questions. I can talk all day, so I want to hear what you guys want to know about. But behavioral automation is similar to these alerts in the fact that we're paying attention to what these leads are doing. So if a lead, or excuse me, when a prospect or a new lead, so these certain statuses, right? When they respond or when they do any incoming behavior for the first time, we're going to automatically change their status to be active. So now because they're responding to us, they've opened the line of communication. We're going to switch them to an active lead. We're going to automatically change their drip campaign, which is where we're headed next. We're going to automatically do all these things just to help keep them engaged and keep them on the right path rather than asking them to meet up for coffee or meet up for a swig soda or something. We're now just saying, hey, I just wanted to check in, see how your search is going rather than trying to get a first meeting or a first conversation.
So, okay, so a quick question,
Yep.
sort of like a hypothetical here, it's actually part two questions.
Okay.
For what was transferred over, I got a number of things that transferred over that were in trash before.
Okay.
So, two questions. How do I search based off of a hashtag on here to just highlight those? So that's the first part of the question.
Cool.
The second part of the question would then be is, and I know you probably already what you already said, but then how can I highlight those ones and send them the generic email just as kind of a last ditch effort to see if there's any activity on those ones to then reactivate them? Did my questions make sense, or did I?
Let me run with it and see it. I probably missed something, but let me check.
Okay.
So we're jumping back to the Smart CRM. What was your name?
Luke.
Hi, Luke. Luke has imported his contacts in there, but he's got some that were spam, trash, archive, whatever you want to call them. But he's trying to do maybe like a Hail Mary message to see if we can reactivate them, do some lead CPR. So I'm in my Smart CRM and we want to know how to filter by certain hashtags or maybe filter by a status, certain things that you guys want to filter by and just target certain people. So I'm going to go to my Smart CRM and then right beneath the title of that is a button called filters on the left-hand side. As I click on that, you can see you can start filtering by a number, almost anything you can filter by. So Luke, or your example, we're going to jump down to contact details and we're going to scroll down. There's a field called hashtags. And so let's say you guys have a hashtag called pre-approved and we're going to send a message to all of our spam or our trash or whatever they are, those contacts that are already pre-approved that we're just trying to see if we can grab them as a client. So we can type in, I don't think I have that hashtag in here, so that's my fault, but we'll type out the hashtag. You can click the one from the drop down that appears once you have that hashtag added in there. And then scroll down to the bottom and you can apply those filters. I'm not going to do that because I don't have any, I hardly have any to filter by. But let's say that my filters have been added. Next to where it says first name, just to the left, there's that box at the top. If you click that, that will select everybody on that page. Now, if you've got more than that page allows for, on the far right, it'll say like owned by, and you can go up and it says 50 rows. You can click that and you can do up to 250 contacts at one time. We don't do any more than that just for spam reasons. We don't want to get marked as spam, so we're going to do 250. You can send it to those 250, go to your second page, send it to that. And we're going to queue it, so it's going to stagger it, so it's not going to be like a complete spam message. So if you've got a bunch, do that 250, click that box again, so you're going to select everybody on that page. And then if you're like, well, hey, there's like 3, 5, 10 of these in here that I really don't want to send it to, just this box next to the contact's name. I don't want to send it to this person and I don't want to send it to this person. You can unselect them, or maybe you just want to go and select the ones you do want, either way. And at that point, you can do your mass email or your mass text. Again, that template, I just type out the word import. And that's that template that I like to use. It's kind of like a Hail Mary, see if they can respond back to you guys. Was that your question, Rick?
Yeah,
Okay.
I appreciate you going through that. It helps me navigate to where it all is. Okay. I think it, helps me a lot.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we've talked through some behavioral alerts, some behavioral automation. kvCORE is doing stuff for you guys where you really don't need to touch anything quite yet. But I do want to talk to you guys about some drip campaigns and some of the automated stuff that's, again, happening. And I hope we have a little bit of time for a little bit of lead gen. If not, I'm going to send you some articles on how to get there. But in Marketing Autopilot, again, I'm just going to click on Manage Campaigns underneath the Smart Campaign section. Now, we have default drip campaigns set up, right? Okay. Each brokerage kind of varies. So we've got some default drip campaigns set up already for you guys. Now, the important thing to know is a couple of these different columns. I think the very first one that I want to pay attention to is the far right, where it says status, and there's that toggle. If it's gray, it is turned off. It will not automatically apply. It will not be an option for you guys because it is off and not available. If it is blue, it is turned on. And then we're going to go to, okay, so it's turned on. It's going to automatically apply to my leads, but what leads is it going to apply to? And that's when we start looking at this starts when column right in the middle, and then the design for column just next to it. So we can see my first one that's turned on is I have a postcard send campaign. So it's going to be my reminder to send some postcards out. Well, I'm only going to send this to leads who have a status of prospect and that are marked as a type of seller. So that's the only time that campaign is going to apply. You guys are probably seeing, and one that I recommend is the default new lead buyer campaign. That one is going to apply when your status of your contacts is a new lead and their type is a buyer. And then you guys can start looking at all the other columns, but you're going to see, okay, the channel. So this is how this drip campaign is going to impact. They're going to schedule you some tasks. They're going to set up some phone calls for you. It's going to automatically send emails, automatically send text messages, and it's going to try to connect you to those leads on the phone. So I'm assuming you guys all want to be like, well, that's great, but what does the message say? So you can click on the campaign names and kind of get more information and see the previews of all those messages. So I just clicked on that. You can see on the far right-hand side, I've got my campaign settings. So this should look very familiar. It was basically what was on that last page, but just now vertical rather than horizontal. But then if I go to the middle where it's like, okay, default new lead buyer. So immediately, so as soon as that lead comes into the system marked as a new lead buyer, immediately the kvCORE system, right, from the system to me, the agent, we're going to schedule a task. And we can preview that task, and it wants me to view the template. It wants me to send a text or an email with properties in their area. Now, the next thing it's going to do, again, immediately, it's going to leave a reminder. The system is going to remind me, the agent, to call this lead and leave a voicemail. Now, minute 7, so 7 minutes after they come in, we're automatically going to have the systems where it says agent to contact. The system's going to do that for you guys automatically. You can see that we are going to see the text message. We can see exactly what that text message is by viewing that template. And it's going to say, hey, thanks for inquiring. On a scale from 1 to 10, what condition would you say your property's in? And I think I've messed this up on mine. Maybe it's different, but Yep.
Probably already said this
That's okay.
before as well, but from the text standpoint that's going out to the clients, is that coming from my number or a generic computer generated one?
It is a single number. It's your office's kvCORE number. Now, where you find what that number is when you click on your name in the upper right-hand corner. There's that phone icon with the phone number that you probably don't recognize.
Okay, so this is the generic spam text that's going out to everybody. So if I've got relationships with other people, then it's going to be 2 emails and whatnot. So, or 2 texts.
Yeah, you may want to, in that kind of Hail Mary message, or even just once you do your import or talk to your contacts, hey guys, I just want to let you know I got a new phone number for my business. I know I'm in real estate. I've been growing my business a bunch. I did get a new phone number. If you've got my personal number, great. You can still, use that and contact me there. But for work, this is also the number that you can contact me at and save it in your phone. Just so they know that you still have both lines and they're both you, but now you just have a dedicated work number.
And so that will, as far as those texts, then will those be able to come through as like a normal text on my phone then, or did that when they do the kvCORE platform? That's how I have to follow up.
So I would recommend downloading the kvCORE app. It's free. You just log in with the same credentials, and that way you'll get a push notification in your kvCORE app, and you can kind of basically text via that app.
Gotcha.
But you will get a text.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get a text being like, "Hey, John Smith responded and said X, Y, and Z."
kvCORE app, and then I monitor that way. So so from a going forward standpoint, for new clients, I can just use that one, go all exclusively through the kvCORE app.
Yep.
And then if I got personal relationships with the personal one, then it's just separate.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if they call that phone number?
That'll go to your cell phone.
So we have the same number, it just routes and knows which one to go to?
So it's
So
called
smart.
a smart number.
Gosh.
So it knows which leads are assigned to which agent.
Okay.
Now, the only time where it gets a little weird is if it's a brand new lead that's never been entered into the system, randomly finds that number on your main office website, something like that.
It'll go to the office.
It'll go to the office, and then we can distribute as needed out to the correct agent. But that's where the only time it's a little bit weird. But once your leads get assigned to you and they call or text that number, it will only go to you as that assigned agent.
So don't be giving out that number unless it's in your system.
Yeah, unless you already have like Jane Doe down the street in your system, don't tell her to call or text you there, because it may go just to the office and hey, next up is Dan instead of Liv.
Okay. CRM cross Boosh question.
Okay.
Yes, some questions, leads that come in through Boosh, through Remax, through that.
Yep.
Are those going to be forwarded to the kvCORE automatically, or do we have to go to Boosh to get those leads, then download them separately into the kvCORE app? The same part of that question is any leads that come through for through the brokerage, how are those going to be sent out? Is that going to be an automatic thing? Is that going to be, okay, you got email, here's a new person, and you just talk to them on the phone, and this one's yours, that sort of thing? How are both of those?
So unfortunately, Boosh does not have a way to transfer it to kvCORE, and that's on Boosh's side. kvCORE can import a bunch of like Zillow leads, all sorts of different sources, but we're having problems communicating with Boosh. And it's not on.
Follow up on that.
Okay,
We may have.
we may have one now. Okay,
Let me
maybe
follow
like
up.
Xavier or something.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and I know it's on Boosh's side.
Yes,
the
it
problem.
is. They don't like to send us leads.
Yeah. And then as far as the office goes, so if they're on like the office website and they look at a property like 123 Main Street, it's gonna round robin the agents. So,
So that's automatically set up round robin.
And then if that lead comes in and registers on the office website looking at your listing, those leads will get assigned to you as the listing agent.
correct.
And then associates purchased Remax Equity's website. So anything that's coming through Remax Equity will now forward to our new website. And so any leads that come from our websites, whether it's old websites or new websites, that will go to kvCORE instead of like Boomtown where it used to go. So just to answer that.
Okay.
So like Utah Equity is one of them, but RMX Equity is another one. We bought a couple of those websites from Steve. and we have those, and so they'll forward to the new sites. Yeah.
Food should be the only kind of outlier we can do with those, and then just automatically download something.
Yeah, but we'll look into it. We'll get back to you
I'll
guys
follow
on
up with Aaron and we can kind of, that'll be hopefully a good brokerage wide change.
that. Yeah,
If that, I think we might have it working.
awesome.
I'll double check. Cool, so, yeah. So for these drip campaigns, if you guys are not big on drip campaigns, I'd at least ask you to give a couple of these a chance for a little while. The 3 that I would recommend is default new lead buyer, default new lead seller, and then we have an open house campaign to go along with our open house app. Taking notes, so I'll wait for just a second.
Yeah. Tell us more.
Yeah. So our open house app is pretty cool because it's basically like a registration page for people to, once they attend your open house, hey, can you please register?
We will hold your place in line and call you back as soon as possible. Your phone number is 801.
I don't know who that is, but sorry.
Okay.
I don't know what that was.
No worries. So it's basically like a sign-in sheet. When someone comes in, you can, say for, COVID reasons, for security reasons, the homeowner has asked us to get a document of everybody who's come in, a bunch of things, but it's an app, definitely optimized for a tablet. If you don't have one, it works for your fine on your phone. But it asks the people to register with name, email, phone. Are they working with the real estate agent? You can toggle on or off a couple of questions, but it should just be called the KVCORE Open House app. Again, free. Contacts that register and have them automatically flow into your kvCORE system where we have that drip campaign set up, where I think 30 minutes after it's going to send them an auto thank you text message. It's going to follow up with,
Awesome.
Hey, are you looking for properties in the area still? Do you need help? Just kind of follow through. It's not a big drip campaign. I think there's like 7 touches, but just enough to follow up and just after they've attended your open house.
That's great. And is that, a lot of people come through with their agent, and the agent
Yep.
signs in on it. So that has a filter in their time of agents, so they're not going to get all of those.
I believe it does, yes. I haven't used it in a long time. We can download it after this and kind of go through, but you basically,
have it written on that, and that's, that would be awesome.
yeah. So it definitely says like it has a box like I am working with the real estate agent already. It'll unsubscribe them from communication, but it'll still put them in your database. That way, if 5 years down the road they're ready to buy or sell again, you can still reach back out to those unsubscribed contacts.
So on those unsubscribed ones, what are kind of like the rules on that? They're telling us they're not. Are we still can and should be following up with those particular ones? And it's just not part of the auto open house portion of it. We can put that on a different type of drip campaign or something like that.
I don't know, broker. I don't know the rules on following up with people who are.
I mean, if they say they have an agent, you should respect that relationship.
So not even something they provide to the,
I think that would be appropriate, but much more than that, I think it's crossing some lines there. So I would default to, yeah.
Yeah, I had the same conversation up in Minnesota, and they're like, "No, don't ever send anything." I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry." Different rules and regulations. So.
That's like just one of those different things that most a lot of people I have seen. Yeah, I have made conventional money.
Right. Yeah, that's what you're thinking of. Like, because I would put that. That's probably what I would do if I was a normal buyer or whatever. But like, I think a follow up, thanks for coming. But like, if they say they have an agent, like, what are you gonna do? Like, imagine if that was your client, you'd be pissed if I followed up with your client like, hey, Luke sucks.
Just so you guys are aware, it's over in the lead engine. Just access to that is the open house app little section where you can download it or just go to iOS or Google Play Store, both available there. Okay, we've got 2 minutes.
Without millions mapped. Their app, the thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So we have Millions Mapped. So again, in that lead engine section on the left, it's called Millions Mapped. You guys basically have an app that you can share out with your consumers. So rather than saying, hey, download Utah Real Estate or Zillow or whatever, those apps, you now have your own app that you can share out with your consumers. It is a little particular where you have to have your website. So like mine would be aubendubois.
I need your opinion.
Let's just say insiderealestate.com, and then
No,
it would be /app.php, and that's my specific link. So when someone downloads that link, they're going to get assigned to me as their agent. So they're going to see my name, my picture, my contact information. So when they favorite a property or they request a showing or ask a question, I'm the one that's going to be notified on those properties.
Hey, question. I think Stephanie, sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you repeat your question? Okay.
Right, Steph?
Sorry, guys. I don't have a question. I was just kind of thinking out loud, so I'm good.
Oh, no, you're good. My laptop doesn't have an awesome speaker, so we couldn't hear. So sorry.
Kelly has a question though. Where do we get the personalized website address for using the app?
So Kelly, yours would be kelly.remaxlayton.com. And then
/app.php. If you're not sure what your website is, again, you can click on your email address in the upper, your name in the upper right-hand corner. That second option with the little mail icon, that's your kvCORE email address. And then that's your website right below that where you can just use that. Again, and then add after the .com, add a /app.php. Cool. That is time, no problem, Kelly. Any other questions? I'm happy to help out. We covered a lot, but there's so much more to talk about. I think the only thing that I wanted to cover today that we didn't get a chance to would be just be some lead generation options and ideas. So back in the lead engine, the two that are used most often are the IDX squeeze pages as well as landing pages. I can send Erin some links for you guys and some videos to watch that. Just to get familiar with those. Those are completely free. You have unlimited use of them. You can test them out. You can not use them at all. I don't care. You have unlimited use of those. But those are some great ways to just start getting your website out there, getting some people interested in some properties or even interested in you talking about the real estate market or not. People use it for garage sales and whatever you want. So you can go crazy with those. And I think the last thing would be Web and IDX. If you wanted to change any settings on your website, make it look a little bit more unique to you, Web and IDX, and there's a section called Edit Settings for you guys to go in and do that right here at the top. Well, I haven't seen any more questions in the chat, but I'm keeping my eye on them if there are anything. Is anything else?
I think we're good. So
thank you, Auden.
let's dash CMA.
Yeah, dash CMA is at 12:30.
12:30.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So tune back in at 12:30 if you want to go over dash CMA, which is your product as well.
It is our product. I'm actually getting, we just recently acquired Dash. So I'm actually having the founder of Dash CMA come on Zoom with you guys, and she's going to be talking about it, but I'll still be here for anybody who's staying here to answer questions after the fact.
What's the Dash CMA one?
Yeah, so Dash CMA is somewhat similar to like Cloud CMA with some, a little bit more functionality. It's just a really good comparative tool just to know compliance.
Okay, gotcha. So this is the comp survey one.
Yes.
Yes,
Gotcha,
yes.
gotcha.
So this is not a Remax product. It's a Remax Associates product through the kvCORE account.
So you'll see it over on the left-hand side. It'll be Dash CMA. You should have that there already.
And if you guys attended the last Dash CMA training, it will be a little bit different. So if you want to attend, you should attend.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's some chats. Let me make sure. What were the two lead generation pages? IDX Squeeze and Kelly's already got landing pages. IDX Squeeze pages and landing pages, and then I'll shoot Erin some articles, and she can notify you guys of those so you have access and videos and help articles to get started with that.
And then just a reminder to everybody, last Wednesday of every month, I will be having a training via Zoom at 10 o'clock. And we'll kind of go over each section of kvCORE because there's a lot.
There's a lot. Well, thank you guys so much for jumping on Zoom. And for those of you here, thank you so much. And I'll be here at 12:30.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Stop.